Good evening, and welcome back to After Dark with Tosin. Tonight we're heading to Seoul, South Korea, into the narrow hallways of a low-cost lodging house where, on an ordinary October morning in 2008, terror erupted without warning. What unfolded inside that building became one of the most shocking acts of random violence in South Korean history, a tragedy now known as the Nonhyeon-dong Massacre. Viewer discretion is advised. This story is disturbing. It's October 20th, 2008. 8:15 a.m. in Gangnam-gu, one of Seoul's busiest districts where the day is just beginning. People are commuting, shops are opening, and inside a modest goshwon, a tiny budget lodging house, residents are waking up to begin their routines. But one man had planned something very different. 30-year-old Jung Sang-jin, living on the third floor, pours gasoline onto his bed. Then, he lights it. Thick smoke erupts instantly, filling the corridor. But Jung doesn't run. He steps out of his room dressed entirely in black. Goggles covering his eyes, a balaclava hiding his face, and a headlamp cutting through the smoky darkness. Strapped to his legs are two fruit knives. In one hand, a sashimi knife, long, slender, razor sharp, and on his waist, a tear gas gun. As residents flee the spreading blaze, they run straight into Jung. In the chaos, Jung begins slashing at anyone he encounters. People run, stumble, scream for help, but the hallways are narrow, visibility low, and the exits blocked by fire. 5 victims die from the stab wounds Jung inflicts. Another woman, desperate to survive, jumps from a 4th-floor window and doesn't make it. 7 others are injured, 4 of them critically. Among the victims, several Chinese nationals who had come to South Korea for work, now caught in a nightmare not of their making. Outside, the street erupts into action. About 100 firefighters respond, battling the blaze for 30 minutes before finally bringing it under control. But among the survivors pulled from the building is Jung himself. At 9:20 a.m., firefighters retrieve him from a storage room on the 4th floor. At first, he appears to be just another victim, dazed, quiet, covered in soot. But then, police notice something unusual. At the scene, Jung behaves strangely. When questioned, he breaks. He confesses, calmly, to everything. He is arrested immediately and taken to Gangnam Police Station, where he is charged with homicide and arson. But the biggest question still lingers. Why? Jung Sang-jin had come to Seoul in 2002 from a rural province. He scraped by with part-time jobs, delivery work, restaurant shifts, parking valet gigs. But by 2008, he was unemployed, drowning in financial hardship, and unable to pay his rent, or even his phone bill. Police reports and interrogations paint a portrait of a man spiraling for years. Jung claimed he had been persecuted since childhood, attempted suicide twice in middle school, and suffered from severe headaches. Unconfirmed reports suggested 8 prior convictions, including a fine for skipping mandatory military reserve training. He told police, "I didn't want to live anymore. Everybody looks down on me." Investigators believed he wanted to lash out at society, at the wealthy, at authority. But when those targets felt unreachable, he turned instead to the people closest at hand. One surprising detail. Jung was said to be a fan of the film A Bittersweet Life, directed by Kim Ji-woon, known for its stylized violence. Some officials suggested the movie may have influenced his weapon choice in preparation, but ultimately, Jung's motives were a storm of mental instability, economic despair, and resentment, all erupting in one catastrophic morning. On May 12, 2009, the Seoul Central District Court sentenced Jung to death, calling his crimes premeditated and cruel. South Korea, however, has had a de facto moratorium on execution since 1997. So although sentenced to die, Jung's execution has never been carried out. The Nonhyeon-dong massacre reverberated across Korea and beyond. It drew comparisons to other tragedies, the Daegu subway fire, the torching of Seoul's Namdaemun Gate, and Japan's Akihabara massacre that same year. It became a grim reminder that random violence, though rare, can strike anywhere, even in a country known for safety. 6 people lost their lives that morning. 7 more survived with physical and emotional scars that won't ever fully fade. Behind the sensational headlines is a truth we see again and again in cases like this. That untreated mental health struggles, crushing poverty, and deep resentment can form a dangerous and unpredictable mix. But the victims, their lives, their stories, are what matter most. And tonight, we remember them. Thank you for joining me for this episode of After Dark with Tosin. If you found this story informative, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, stay safe, stay aware, and don't be afraid of the dark. Unless you have a reason to be.